that devastating floods in the Hill Country.
That's right. And here's what we know so far. At least 25 people have died in connection to this weather event.
And this morning, at least 23 girls unaccounted for after Camp Mystic became flooded along the Guadalupe River. Now, the amount of rainfall just in parts of Kerr County alone up to 10 to 12 inches of rain. Some unbelievable numbers out there. And the latest update, again, death toll right now, the Kerr County officials, sheriffs there saying that it is 25 people, one also in Kendall County as well. That is part of the group of 25. Sarah.
And 18 summer camps have been contacted per Kerrville Red Cross. They are assisting with the reunification effort. If you want to donate or have any questions about a missing loved one, call 800-733-2767. But Sarah Spivey has some important information for us. What we need to know about today's weather, especially in the Hill Country.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So right now in the Hill Country, it's fairly quiet. Okay, this is good news for rescue efforts and recovery efforts because the waters of the Guadalupe have now started to recede and they're no longer under flood stage. So that is good news for the Hill Country. The exception, though, is we are seeing additional flooding out east of San Antonio now, nearer to Seguin. This is where we've got a flash flood warning. We've got a flash flood warning also up near Lockhart until about noon, and then in Caldwell County, and then here in Guadalupe County, you can see we've got a flash flood warning until 11:15. And here's the reason why. We've got torrential rain pretty much not moving at all over I-10. Right here is where we've got the heaviest of the rain, and this storm is not moving. Think about Seguin. You've got Cibolo Creek through Seguin, and then from McQueeney down toward areas south of Seguin, that's where you've got the Guadalupe River. Now, the Guadalupe River in these areas is not yet flooding. That's because the Guadalupe up north is dammed up by the Canyon Lake, which is only 46% full. So Canyon Lake is getting some additional water from yesterday's flooding, but now downstream we've got the risk for some flooding nearer to Seguin and McQueeney. Again, Guadalupe River here and Cibolo Creek through Seguin. We're going to keep you posted, but the biggest thing to know is that in these areas, what we've seen so far is a lot of rain that has already fallen. Take a look at this. South of Kingsbury, just within the last couple of hours, rainfall amounts here in this purple color up to about 7 inches of rain. Remember how I was showing you that rainfall rates in these areas are at about 7 inches an hour? That's because this storm has not moved. It has easily produced 7 inches of rain. So I'm starting to get concerned for areas nearer to McQueeney, Geronimo, Kingsbury, and then of course everybody downstream from this into Gonzales County as well needs to be on high alert, especially if you live near the Guadalupe River. We're watching this as it builds back here towards I-35. It very well could be producing some even heavier rain here in New Braunfels momentarily. This is a great reminder that we are not done with the rain chances yet. Even though in San Antonio right now it's not raining, we have to be on alert. We're under a flood watch until 7 p.m. We're going to continue to keep you posted, and I'll have a look and an update to your weekend forecast as well.
Sarah, thank you.
Okay, so let's go to Patty Santos right now. She is outside of Hunt along the Guadalupe River with some daytime images, and the first time that we're getting to see this along Highway 39. Patty, what can you tell us?
Okay, so we are at the Guadalupe River. This is a road that leads to the Weltonian Lodge that's right behind me. But you can see there's still water over the road, and there's a tree that's blocking us from being able to get to the other side. But people that have been to the other side tell me that it's totally gone. I wanted to stand here to give you a sense of just how high this water was. So we're at the base. People describe this area as full of trees. All these rocks, they were not here. You see all the way up there to that tree, that is how high we are seeing that the debris was hitting. And it's not surprising because we're under the hill right now. This goes up a slope, and some of the people that live in the houses that are up from here tell me the water was even up beyond their house, 6 feet inside their house. So all of this is just the devastation, debris. The landscape has changed. That is one of the things that some of the people here are telling me. It's it's just devastating. This is not the same place that they moved into when they moved in here to this area. We've also seen some people walking the road here. Some of them I'm hearing are coming from Austin, just kind of helping with the search efforts here. But again, this is all happening as there's a massive law enforcement effort that is here on the ground, people looking for to search and to rescue people that might still be trapped. We are going to get a briefing here in just about an hour. We're going to be there for that and give you the very latest. But this, again, is just a little bit of a glimpse of just how massive this flooding was. Again, I'm standing right here. The trees are pretty high. We could actually see where some of that debris got stuck in those limbs up that high. Incredible images from this scene right now. We'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Patty. You see those trees uprooted, just kind of the force of those rushing floodwaters. And we'll check back in with Patty coming up in just a little bit. It is coming up on 9:07, 78 degrees outside.
Let's take a look outside with live cam. Calm here. Sarah Spivey saying the concern really is in the Seguin area right now. She'll have an update on that and also what the Hill Country will look like today with the weather when we come back. The devastation of these floods still being felt this morning, and we have crews spread across the impacted areas, seeing what they look like, especially the area of Hunt. We're getting a first look as those roads were impassable all day yesterday finally opened. Yeah, some compelling images coming out of there. Robert Arnold from our sister station KPRC is joining us live right now from that area to give us the very latest. Robert?
Yes, we're near the Cypress Lake portion of Camp Mystic, where several of those young ladies are still unaccounted for, and we've also just seen a large group of DPS troopers show up to begin searching this area. So the group that is coming up this way, their plans are to start at this bridge, which is near the Cypress Lake portion of Camp Mystic, and work their way down to the other bridge where there's the other entrance to Camp Mystic, I believe Camp Mystic Guadalupe River. So they're going to be searching through this. It's going to be very, very slow, painstaking work. I mean, look at all this debris, and they have to go through all of this. They have to do it carefully, and they have to do it thoroughly. So right now, they're down on the river, or on the riverbed right now, or on the riverbank right now, starting their search. They're going to have to search this area, clear it. Once they clear this area, then they're going to start working their way back. I mean, this is going to take all day for at least this group. Now, we do see, and if you can go a little bit farther here, if you look past those trees, see that line of cars? That's another line of cars, another line of trucks that just came through with sheriff deputies, other law enforcement officials. They're going to be starting their search beyond this spot. So we're here with this group of DPS troopers who are starting their search near the entrances to Camp Mystic for those young ladies who are still unaccounted for. We've also heard from several people who have other loved ones at other camps, also homes in this area. They're unaccounted for as well. So we still have not gotten the total number of the missing at this point. We're hoping to get that later today, and as soon as we get any more information, we will update you. Reporting live from Kerr County, Robert Arnold, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate that. As we turn now to the weather, I kind of want to give people an idea of where Robert is at. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall that happened yesterday in Kerr County. Okay, this is a look at rainfall. You can see the bullseye right there in western Kerr County. So Robert is reporting that he was near Camp Mystic. That's right here next to 39. 39, you'll notice, is pretty windy. And the reason why it's windy is because it hugs the South Fork of the Guadalupe River. And yesterday in the early morning hours, just past midnight, the rain started falling and it did not stop. And in fact, some radar estimates of up to a foot of rain fell in that area. Of course, we have Camp La Junta, Camp Mystic, where unfortunately some of those girls are still missing and unaccounted for. This much rain quickly filled the Guadalupe River. In fact, let's take a look at the times that the Guadalupe River started to flood. So remember, the rain started around midnight and really started coming down around 2 o'clock in the morning. By about 4:35 that morning, yesterday morning, the river rose at Hunt to 29 feet. That's where it crest. Then just 10 minutes later, that's all it took, 10 minutes for that wall of water to travel from Hunt to Kerrville. The river crest at 23 feet. Farther downstream, we saw the river crest its center point around 7:15, and then by 11 o'clock in Comfort, it was cresting at 35 feet. Then, as the river went into Kendall County, you can notice just how windy it is. So it took that water a little bit longer to travel to areas like Ammons Crossing, so just south of Bergheim. It crest at 50 feet by the evening hours. And then just this morning, shortly after 5 o'clock, we finally saw the river crest at Spring Branch at 29 feet. Now, the good news is all of that water is currently going into Canyon Lake, which is low. That's the good news. That Canyon Lake is low is actually good news here, because that means that Canyon Lake can fill up without the folks having to release the water into the Guadalupe south toward New Braunfels, which is getting a lot of heavy rain at the moment. So as we take a look at the authority radar, you can see that these areas that I was just talking about are dry at the moment. This is why first responders, people are able to get out there, and we're finally starting to see the river no longer flood as it drains into Canyon Lake. But look at what's happening just to the east of that, from Sattler down to Seguin, down to Geronimo. We are seeing some very heavy rain falling. I'm going to go ahead and take off the lightning so that you can get a clearer picture. This is very heavy rain falling near Seguin, Kingsbury, and now in McQueeney. We've got a flash flood warning for these areas until 11:15 because, again, over 6 to 7 inches of rain has fallen in that area. And the heaviest of rain right now is actually falling over I-10 in Guadalupe County and nearer to McQueeney. Of course, we've got the Guadalupe River that runs through McQueeney, and in Seguin, Cibolo Creek. So we're going to have to watch these parts of the river and creeks very carefully, as downstream all of that water will have to drain there. Please remember, if you are inside of this flash flood warning, remember those key words: turn around, don't drown. It's not just a nifty phrase that rhymes, it's a phrase that saves lives. If you are driving today and you come across water on the roads, turn around, don't drown. Let's take a look at some of the rainfall that's fallen from this one storm that, again, is just isolated, and it's sitting right there over areas near Seguin. We've seen in some cases up quick 4 to 5 inches of rain falling already, and rainfall rates in this storm are high. We're looking at rainfall rates of about 6 inches an hour. That means that if the storm parks itself for an hour, it's going to dump 6 inches of rain, and we're really not seeing much motion here on these storms. I'm going to go back to the radar, and I'm going to look over here to San Antonio. We're not seeing any rain in San Antonio. As we look at our next couple of hours, though, we do have the potential for that rain that's falling in Seguin to back build towards San Antonio. And so for that reason, there's a 60% chance for heavy rain later on today, this afternoon, into the early evening hours. And just a reminder, all of these counties in green here are under a flash flood watch until 7 p.m. because additional flooding is possible. We're going to watch out for it. You'll notice, though, that the flooding has really only happened so far in Guadalupe County and up in Burnett. So it's fairly isolated, but all of us in these areas need to be on alert. As we take a look at your 7-day forecast, we're going to have the potential to dry out a little bit in the next couple of days before we definitely have a chance to dry out by Thursday and Friday.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Sarah. And we're continuing following everything. And of course, Sarah updating us with everything going on in Guadalupe County as well. It is now 9:17, taking a look at 78 degrees outside.
And we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio, and we want to show you some videos and images that we are getting in right now into KSAT Connect.
Yeah, so this is in Seguin. This is the flooding that Sarah Spivey has been talking about. This viewer says this is not a creek, this is her driveway. She is saying the roads in Seguin are all experiencing flooding right now. This is the area that is, under that flood watch, warning until 11:15 that Sarah Spivey has been talking about. This is Highway 281. This is where Erica Hernandez was earlier. It hasn't gone over the highway.
Yeah, there's no reports of Highway 281, any sort of closures or any major flooding along the highway. But we saw earlier from Erica's shot that we do have some rushing water out there, as well as these flood waters continue to make their way down the Guadalupe River. And we're getting some more images here. This is from Ernest Ibarra, and this is Rebecca Creek Road. And Ernest is telling us that this is a shot of Rebecca Creek Road underwater this morning.
Yeah, so lots of great images and photos. If you have any more videos or photos that are updated today, please send them in. Remember, you can stay connected with us. Send us those pictures and photo via KSAT Connect, and we will air them on air and online.
Absolutely, yes. And just make sure that you do it safely. We obviously want everyone to stay safe if they're going to send us some photos and videos. Good Morning San Antonio. We'll be back after this break.
While it is quiet over the Guadalupe in the Hill Country, we are monitoring some flash flood warnings ongoing in Guadalupe County near areas like McQueenie, Steele High School, Marion. We're expecting flash flooding, and flash flooding is ongoing near Seguin as well. A flash flood warning in effect until 1:30. These areas have already produced 3 to 4 inches of rain. This is also a highly electrified storm. You can see all of the lightning strikes here. Again, notice in San Antonio, we're not really seeing any rain at the moment, but there is a high possibility and probability for this heavy flooding to move into Bexar County. Areas like Zool, Schertz, Selma, northeastern corner of Bexar County should be on alert as well. Again, the risk here is for flooding. We know the Guadalupe runs through these areas and Cibolo Creek. We've got much more to cover, including an in-depth look at the authority radar, how much rain has fallen in our area, a look at Guadalupe River itself, and of course, more news on that devastating flooding nearer to Kerrville. Well, welcome back. Again, I'm watching authority radar very carefully because we are starting to see one of those rain bomb situations out in Seguin and in Guadalupe County. You can see some very heavy rain is falling in areas like McQueenie, Marion, Seguin. And the storm is very slow. If it's moving very, very slowly, if at all. And you can start to see that the heaviest of the rain is back building toward that Bexar County, Guadalupe County line. We've got a flash flood warning in effect until 1:30 for areas in western Guadalupe County, and then near Seguin, that flash flood warning is until 11:15. Send in your pictures and videos if you're in Guadalupe County to KSAT Connect. We want to see what you are seeing. We've already gotten some pictures in, but if you send in your pictures to KSAT Connect, that can really help us understand what kind of flooding we've got going on here. We do have, of course, the Guadalupe River south of McQueeney, and then Cibolo Creek through Seguin. We're going to be watching those very carefully in the coming hours. We're also seeing some heavy rain falling right now from Sattler to Greene and New Braunfels. This is currently not under a flash flood warning, but easily we could start to see some very heavy rain here in these areas too. Rainfall rates are substantial. Anywhere you see these purples, that's where the rain is falling at a rate of about 6 to 7 inches an hour. Torrential downpours. And on top of that, this rain is really not moving all that much. We can zoom into some of these streets here. This is River Road. This is FM 306. Torrential downpours in those areas through Greene, New Braunfels. And then in the area that's dealing with a flash flood warning, downtown Seguin, torrential downpours not letting up from McQueeney down to Morrison Falls and Zip and Mulesville. We're not seeing that rain let up at all in these areas. Now you'll notice here in San Antonio, we are not really seeing any rain at the moment in Bexar County. That could easily change as these heavy storms start to backbuild toward Bexar County. In the bigger picture, what we've got going on in the northern portion of the hill country along that Guadalupe River where we had that devastating, deadly flooding, things are starting to dry out for those folks. And so that is good news for first responders. People can get out there, can start to look for people who are unaccounted for, etc., cleaning up, all of those things. It's been an eventful morning, though, because out near Austin, north of Austin, from Burnett all the way out to about Marble Falls area, they have seen what we saw in parts of western Kerr County, a foot of rain earlier this morning. This just goes to show you the atmosphere is still primed for flooding. And with that in mind, we are still under a flash flood watch. We literally are watching out for more flooding to occur. With this weather pattern, it's hard to know exactly where the heavy rain is going to fall, but we know that heavy rain is falling and will fall in areas inside of these green counties where we've seen up to 1 to 3 inches of rain, and we could see pockets of more than that as what we're seeing in Guadalupe County. One thing I want to walk you through is the forecast for San Antonio. This is the San Antonio area. We are seeing light rain right now in San Antonio, but as that storm back builds into Bexar County, we'll have an additional showers and storms developing. Let's take a look at the headlines. These are the top things you need to know here in San Antonio and across the hill country. The Guadalupe River is receding. It's reaching Canyon Lake right now. We also are under that flood watch. Pockets of heavy rain, though, will still be possible until 7 a.m. And rain chances in San Antonio, 60% today, less of a chance tomorrow. I'm going to be back to recap all of the flooding along the Guadalupe and, of course, keep you updated on that flash flood warning in Guadalupe County in just a few minutes.
Sarah, thank you so much. We are continuing to monitor the devastation brought on by yesterday's floods in the hill country, where we know at least 25 people have died in connection to this weather event.
Yeah, Sarah, still hard to see some of those images right there. Homes underwater, cars underwater. And this morning, there are at least 23 reportedly girls unaccounted for at Camp Mystic. That is right along the banks of the Guadalupe River. So here's a little bit more information about what we know so far. The amount of rainfall in Kerr County, absolutely unbelievable. Up to 10 to 12 inches of rain falling there. And again, these are updates coming from the Kerr County Sheriff out there, Larry Latha. And as of this morning, again, an unknown number of people remain unaccounted for.
18 summer camps have been contacted per Kerrville. The Red Cross is assisting with the reunification effort. If you are looking for a loved one, call 1-800-733-2767.
And you could also go to our website to get more information on those sites and those shelters as well. And of course, as Sarah Spivey just mentioned, we're getting a lot more flooding in our area, specifically in Guadalupe County, more overnight rain, flooding warnings, and over by Seguin. Erica earlier was over by 281.
And now she is live in Seguin. Erica, I know you guys had to pull over for safety because of that intense rain. So what are you seeing now that you're out there?
Yeah, that's correct, Sarah. The rain has just been coming down nonstop. And the closer we got into Seguin, the harder the rain was coming. The lightning is nonstop here as well. We did pull over because it was getting harder to see the roadway. Now you can see there is still traffic going. We're in the 46 and 90 area, like going toward I-10. If you could see the sign there. There are vehicles on the roadway, but what we're noticing as we were driving in is the amount of ponding and on the side of the roadway. It was starting to get higher and higher as we were getting further and further in to Seguin. So these are dangerous. This is dangerous driving conditions. I know we see cars out there. Obviously, people are on the roadways, but for anybody who is listening, it would be safe if you just stay home right now. These driving conditions are not ideal right now in Seguin. The water is getting closer to the roadway as we were getting further in and ponding. So we were seeing some flooding already. We were trying to get to the Max Stark Park in to see the Guadalupe River because that's where it goes through. We'll try to get driving again, but right now conditions in Seguin are really bad. I mean, you could hear the rain coming down and it's not letting up. It's been like this for at least 10 minutes now. That's why we pulled over, because it got so bad at one point we couldn't see the roadway while we were driving. So we will keep you updated here from Seguin, but you know, those who are listening or are in the Seguin area, please be careful because these driving conditions right now are just not ideal until this rain goes through. We will have an update again in a little bit later. We're going to try to drive in just a little bit and see if we can get a little closer to that Max Starkey Park. But for right now, we're going to stay pulled over here in the 46 and 90 area. Sarah, RJ?
Erica, thank you, and please continue our viewers to send in those pictures and videos, especially in the Seguin area, so we have a better idea of how intense that rain is that we can see Erica is dealing with, pulled over for safety.
And we already got a few images coming in and videos from KSAT Connect. One woman basically saying that her driveway looks like a creek right now. So ongoing flood situation. Now the situation out there in Guadalupe County, and we hope that Erica and our photographer Alexis stay safe there as well. So I believe we're going to go to Patty.
Yes.
Next, she has been out in Hunt for the better part of the morning, Sarah, and we see her making their way to this press conference.
Patty, what do you know?
Hey there, yeah, we are back in Ingram now. We are on our way to this news conference that's supposed to happen here in about 20 minutes and just about when we get there. But we wanted to show you, and it's just impossible really to capture how devastating this flood was and the aftermath of it. Everything between Hunt to Ingram, it is just, debris after debris, houses torn apart. Let me show you the scene here, here in Ingram. You can see this is just a normal day here, but as you drive north from here on Highway 39, very different picture, very different images that we're seeing. And when you see a car flipped upside down, we've lost count of how many vehicles we have seen in the path of this destruction, the number of houses that have been destroyed, some houses that look like they're okay, but actually neighbors tell me that their houses were flooded all the way to the top. And these are houses that are located up on the top, overlooking down into the river. So the devastation is just incredible. And right now, as people are waking up, we're seeing a lot more traffic along Highway 39, a lot of emergency vehicles, but also a lot of people just stopping to take a look and take pictures. That is something that emergency vehicles, emergency crews are asking people not to do. Please don't go out there. You're just going to be in the way of this cleanup. We're going to bring you the very latest here in about 20 minutes from officials. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Patty. And let's move on to this next part here, which is this is in response to all the flooding. And this includes some disaster declarations across the state of Texas signed by Governor Greg Abbott yesterday. So let's take a look at your screen right there. These are all the counties that they signed for disaster declarations: Bandera, Comal, Concho, Gillespie, Kendall, Kerr, Kimball, Llano, Mason, McCulloch, Menard, Reeves, San Saba, and Tom Green as well. So several counties now under a disaster declaration. That happened last night during a press conference. And here's a little bit more about what our governor had to say about this flooding.
This is a time when we as a state, we as a community need God more than ever.
Okay, so we heard from the governor yesterday. We also heard from other state officials, the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, as well as they say that this is now a full-on effort, Sarah, to get not only the Texas National Guard, their DPS troopers. We've seen the high water rescues involving the choppers as well. Just an ongoing tragic situation out there.
Right, and I know a lot of national, state officials coming in. I heard that Senator Cornyn is on his way. Hopefully we're going to hear from him at this press conference at 10 a.m. in Kerrville. We will keep you updated on air and online. But for now, it is 9:40 and 78 degrees. Let's take a look outside with live cam.
Yeah, we are seeing light rain here in San Antonio, but it is a different story east of San Antonio near Seguin, where we are seeing flash flooding at the moment. And that heavy rain and lightning starting to get into Bexar County. Details coming up.
Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. It is now 9:44 as we continue to cover the aftermath of some deadly flooding in the Hill Country. Sarah, we're seeing some new images there from Highway 39, an area that people were not able to get to.
Right, and we have crews on the ground. We have a press conference in Kerrville starting at 10 a.m. One of our reporters from our sister station, KPRC, Robert Arnold, he has been in the Camp Mystic area taking a look. There he is there. Robert, what do you know so far? What's an update out in that area?
Sure. There has been a tremendous amount of activity. Search crews are already fanning out through this area. Let me orient you where we are. So we're on 39. We're just at the turnoff to go to Camp Mystic, Cypress Lake. And so we're at this area. You see these crews that are coming in. You have boats, you have medics. What we saw about 30 minutes ago was a large group of DPS troopers come in. They're now starting to search from where we are all the way to where the entrance of Camp Mystic Guadalupe River is. And what they're doing, it's very slow, painstaking process. They searched down there where the Guadalupe River was, and now they're working their way back, and they're searching all the homes and structures in this area. You see that Dayglow orange paint right there. That means they just searched this area and it is clear. No one's here, nothing found. So they're moving on down the road. So it's going to be very slow work as they work their way from where the Guadalupe River is here, this crossing, all the way down to the other crossing, Camp Mystic Cypress Lake, Camp Mystic Guadalupe River. As you know, there are still quite a few young ladies unaccounted for from Camp Mystic. There's also several people unaccounted for from other camps and other homes in this area. We're hoping that 10 a.m. news conference will shed a little more light on exactly who they're looking for and how many people are still unaccounted for. So as soon as we get that information, and if we see anything out here in terms of a solid update on that, we will, of course, come back to you. Reporting live from Kerr County, Robert Arnold, KSAT 12 News.
Robert, he's a reporter from our sister station in Houston, out there, boots on the ground. Let's go ahead and take a look at that area that he is in right now, just to give you an idea and an understanding of the kind of intense rainfall in that area. So let's look at Kerr County rain. This is from yesterday, and you can see that bullseye right there of heavy, heavy rainfall across parts of Kerr County. You can see, too, that here's Hunt, here's Ingram, there's Camp La Junta, and there's Camp Mystic. So when we're talking about a large distance, this is a very large distance along 39 there that those first responders have to be searching for, unfortunately, those missing children and missing people. So we are going to keep you posted on that. All of this rain filled into the Guadalupe River. And as we take a look at the authority radar right now, you can see that these areas are finally dry along the Guadalupe. Now, earlier what we saw was the Guadalupe rise to about 30 to even 50 feet. The Guadalupe rose to up to 50 feet near Bergheim, south of Bergheim. Thankfully, all of that water is starting to drain, and you know where it's draining into? Canyon Lake, which is only 46% full, 47% full. At latest check, Canyon Lake is up 2 feet. So it is rising. It's rising slowly, but it is rising. And it's got a long way to go before they have to release water downstream. And thank goodness they're not going to have to release water downstream, because look at what's happening right now. We're getting a lot of heavy, heavy rain right over the Guadalupe River from Canyon Lake to New Braunfels. In fact, we have a flash flood warning just issued for Comal County. This includes Greene, New Braunfels, out to Sattler until 1 o'clock this afternoon. In these areas, 3 to 4 inches of rain has fallen. And then you can see here farther downstream near McQueeney, we've got another flash flood warning at 1:30. Now, it's important to note that this flash flood warning is not river flooding, okay? This flash flood warning is for ponding on the roads, but what we'll be watching for is we'll be watching very carefully to see what the Guadalupe River does in these areas and farther downstream for parts of Wilson County and Gonzales County. But this is a massive, massive rainstorm right now falling over Marion, Zool, New Berlin, Mulesville, up to Seguin. There's rainfall rates and estimates here of the rain falling at a rate of about 6 to 7 inches an hour. That's what this purple is, 6 to 7 inches of rain an hour. That means that if the storm stays still for an hour, it's going to produce 7 inches of rain. And we've already seen a lot of rain that's fallen from this one storm. Take a look out to the east here. This was earlier, south of Kingsbury. We've already seen up to about 7 inches of rain. I can go ahead and highlight the rainfall amounts for you, up to 6 to 7 inches of radar estimated rain. And this storm is very slowly moving into Bexar County as we speak. We're starting to get some of that heavy rain falling near JBSA Randolph, Converse area. In fact, I've got meteorologist Shelby Ebertowski here with me in the Weather Authority Center. If we can push out, Shelby, that we are live on the KSAT Weather Authority app, in case you lose power, can't stay connected with us on your television, we are going to be live on the KSAT Weather Authority app, ksat.com, because again, even though it's not raining for most of San Antonio right now, these storms are back building, and very soon we could have a situation in Bexar County that they're dealing with right now out near Seguin, Marion, up toward New Braunfels, where flash flooding is ongoing for up to 2 to 3 inches of rain. If you are in these areas watching us, send us pictures, send us videos, show us what you're seeing. If you can do so safely, of course, your safety comes first, but we would love to see what you're seeing. Send it through KSAT Connect. That way we can look and you can be our eyes on the ground there. We've also got reporters heading out to Seguin, and they're currently at the moment to keep an eye on things. Again, if there's any good news here, it's that it's not raining along the Guadalupe River where we've already had massive flooding. So that river water is going to be allowed to drain into Canyon Lake. They're not going to have to release any additional water where the storms are producing a lot of rain and water along that Guadalupe River from New Braunfels down to Seguin, McQueeney area. Otherwise, we've got just a shield of light to moderate rain, and this is a great example of the fact that we're going to have to watch the radar very carefully today, because in all of these counties in green here, there is a flood watch, meaning we're watching for the potential for flooding. Flooding is ongoing east of San Antonio until 7 p.m. is how long that flood watch will go. Let's take a quick check of the forecast for you. When are we expected to dry out? Tomorrow, there's less of a rain chance, only 30%, but we will carry some chances for rain until about Tuesday, Wednesday, before we finally dry out. On Thursday and Friday, highs only in the low 90s, guys.
Okay, thank you very much for that update, Sarah, as we continue to monitor things out in Guadalupe County and, of course, over in the Hill Country area.
And my aunt who lives in a ranch near Seguin says it's absolutely pouring there. So please be safe in that area. For now, we're going to take a quick break. It's 9:51, 78 degrees. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio, and we want to give you an update here on some of these missing individuals. All the people that you see on your screen reported as missing this morning following those devastating floods in the Hill Country, and family has confirmed to us their names, and they want to let everyone out there know if you have seen them, please notify authorities. That is Ella Cahill, Aiden Hartfield, Joyce Baden, and Reese Manchaca.
They are all from the Beaumont area. They are Kelly High School grads. They're all about 22 years old. They were staying in a house in Hunt that got swept away near Highway 39 and 1769 in Hunt. So if you know anything about their whereabouts, the family is asking please to let authorities know.
And we're getting this confirmed with family as well. So we know that there's a lot of photos of missing individuals, reported missing individuals floating around on social media, but these are confirmed from family, and the family has allowed us to share these photos,
Right.
including this young lady right here. This is one of the 23 girls that was unaccounted for at Camp Mystic along the Guadalupe River. Kelly Ann Lytle, this was a photo that her father shared with us. She was there at Camp Mystic, and she has not been located.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what RJ just said. There has been several photos this morning of some of these little girls that have been recovered or found, unfortunately not alive, on social media.
Yeah.
We know those are going around on social media. The families haven't given us permission to use them, so we are aware of these photos and some of these campers that their bodies have been recovered. When we get confirmation from either the families or officials, we'll bring the updated information on air and online. Again, in about 4 minutes, we are going to be at a press conference in Kerrville. Our Patty Santos is headed there, hopefully to get more updated information on the rescue and recovery efforts that are happening this morning and probably over the next several days.
That's right. So we are going to stay with you through the rest of our 9 o'clock hour as we get set for that press conference where hopefully we will learn some more information. Good Morning San Antonio. We'll be back after this break.